Well, hello everyone, welcome back to another video of the F1 2020 Driver Career Mode with Alpine, episode number 61 today for the United States Grand Prix season for round number 14. Of course, if you've missed any of the episodes so far, then they are available to watch. There is a link to the playlist in the description below, and of course subscribe to see plenty more episodes of this. We're doing at least one more season. I don't know if we'll get another season after that. That ultimately depends on the release of F1 2021. But anyway, back to the R&D. I decided that I want to sort of do it all at the end. I've seen a couple of YouTubers do it all at the end rather than do it as per long, so they can like plan out which parts plan out which parts that they want to do, and also basically effectively do the ultimate upgrades. But obviously this season isn't over yet. We've gone for a minor aero upgrade just to try and get ahead of McLaren, or stay in point with McLaren, because McLaren have been they're behind us in the championship, but they're coming for us, especially with Norris and Sainz. They're being a bit more consistent in the second half of the season. They're coming for us in the championship, where we need to be more consistent. So one more aero upgrade to ensure that we do stay ahead of them in the R&D chart. But let's go then to the workstation.
So what are sessions? Even if you're confident in your setup, these sessions are still useful for development data.
Oh, that restraining order I had against Carl's retired, excuse me, then we'll have to renew that, because he keeps going on about practice sessions, and to be honest, I don't care. Yes, in terms of the R&D, then we have leapfrogged against Racing Point. I don't know how Racing Point have been that high up anyway, because the fact of the matter is they've been woeful. Might have something to do with their driver lineup. I don't know, because bearing in mind Perez retired, so is only in his first Grand Prix season, and Stroll is being Stroll. Very good result he has. He has two that he doesn't do that great in, really, at this point in his, that's his AI anyway. And McLaren, of course, are there or thereabouts, but obviously they've shown pace that's actually above us. AlphaTauri as well, above Ferrari, and Ferrari actually looks a lot slower. But anyway, let's move to qualifying then, before some messages from Carl.
I see you've been skipping a lot of practice sessions lately. Keep in mind that practice is useful to get used to the track, improve your car setups, and also helps us gather data for car development. Make sure you don't jeopardize your results by taking these sessions too lightly. So what have you got against practice sessions? Even if you're confident in your setup, these sessions are still useful for development data.
This needs to be changed, Codemasters, if you're watching. Most likely they're not. But anyway, moving to short qualifying. United States, it's going to be an interesting one to see what we can do. If I think this was the last place we qualified in the top 10, and that was in season 2. I think in the Red Bull. It's been that long. Either way, qualifying is complete. We're there or thereabouts actually. Ocon is ahead of us, but obviously we are improving on a new set of the soft tyres. See Zoe as well in the Racing Point. You can see we've got one of the Red Bulls on the mini-map that's behind us. I think that he has just finished his lap. Stroll's moved up to 12th place, but so that's going to relegate us down. But we are improving on our current time. Hopefully the other Red Bull is going to give us a little bit of a tow down this straight as well. Help us improve our lap time as well. We'll have to wait and see. If he was little bit slower on their in lap, then we'll have to do that. As Latifi now goes ahead of us, that just really sums up. Hamilton is going for pole. Bearing in mind he's of course retiring at the end of the season. This is 3 more races of seeing Lewis Hamilton in this career mode. As we come into the final section now, 5 tenths up. That corner, we were 5.5 tenths up, but we lost a bit on the exit there. Through into the triple right-hander as a Turkey turn 8 style vibe there. But then through into the final section, we've gained another 10th. And through the final corner, where we'll gain even more time, up to 6 tenths, and up to the line. And it is enough for P11. Okay, so not quite the top 10. but gives us a free choice of tyres, not that we need it in 25% career mode anyway. Lewis Hamilton does, Bottas will be alongside him as well, with Verstappen. I think Verstappen can win the championship today as well, if results go his way. Bearing in mind what Hamilton, Bottas, Albon, they have to finish in a particular order as well. Us, I think that's the best we can do. 7/10 off the next best car. It's not really the car's not really there yet where it can be challenging for positions. But anyway, somebody, however, wasn't particularly impressed with us qualifying up in P11.
Tough luck there. It's not quite where we'd want to be on the grid, but chin up, it's not the end of the world.
Cannot be serious!
Here we are then in one of the fastest growing cities in the United States, the fabulous Austin, in the great state of Texas. The circuit itself 14 miles southeast of the city centre and home to the US Grand Prix since 2012. The latest in a long list of iconic tracks to have that honour. We have 10 turns to the left and 10 to the right here at the fantastic Circuit of the Americas. Overtaking opportunities into turn 1 and 12 at this anti-clockwise 3.6 mile track. And we should see average lap speeds of around 126 miles per hour. Alongside me once again for coverage of today's race, it's none other than the great Anthony Davidson. Why don't we kick off by discussing Max Verstappen? That was a great win in the last race. Can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
It's always nice to come into a Grand Prix weekend on a high, but your expectations are based much more on your practice and qualifying runs. So it's the momentum from those sessions that they'll be hoping to carry into the race today.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas. The Finn starts from pole position, just edging out Alexander Albon, who'll start from P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Leclerc, Lando Norris, and Sainz, Vettel, Gasly, Magnussen, and De Renner, Hamilton, Ocon, George Russell, and Joe, Stroll, Latifi, Daniel Kvyat, and Antonio Giovinazzi, De Vries, and Nobuharu Matsushita. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
So, Lewis Hamilton gives us a top 10 start for the first time in absolutely ages. No word there from Jeff on the grid. He's said what he wants to say. I mean, if it was up to me, I'd fire him, but unfortunately the game doesn't have that option. There's 5 red lights come on then for the United States Grand Prix, and away we go. For it's a mediocre start actually. You see the AlphaTauris are shot away on, I think it's a poor start for Leclerc, I think, as Vettel is up ahead of his teammate. We've dived down the inside though of both Ferraris, both AlphaTauris, and ahead of Leclerc as well. It was Vettel, excuse me, who got the poor start, excuse me. As now we chase after Sainz, and he's already up, I think, and there's contact with Sainz. And Leclerc's on our outside as well. We're going to get pinched, and we have to keep our footing, otherwise we'd have lost 2 positions. Here's a replay with Sainz. Yeah, he goes aggressively to the left-hand side there, and I don't think that's my fault with that. And then with Leclerc, so you can see here, Sainz then aggressively switches to the left, not really there, and then Leclerc just sticks his nose in, not really contact there, but it's not really an overtaking position really, and we survive lap 1. Leclerc though is coming again in the same place. We're going to have to really get the elbows out to defend this P5. We've made a good start thanks to the dive bomb at turn 1, but obviously Sainz has been affected. He's now come in the pits for front wing damage. Now we've got the AlphaTauris. First up, Pierre Gasly is getting in the DRS zone. Fortunately, the one saving grace on this car is that we got a good engine, so no matter what if they got DRS or not, and to help us out, Gasly and Leclerc are now yo-yoing about, and Gasly's now got past Leclerc for the second time using DRS, although Leclerc now is having a little look at us through sector 1. That's where I'm the poorest on this track, and Leclerc, Gasly gets forced out by myself. Leclerc goes sailing through, And so we jump to lap 7, the end of the first stint. Leclerc is right under. This time he goes to the inside. We tried to do a switchback. We have to instead switch it to the outside. We try and pinch him to the inside, and then we just open the taps and run away with this engine. Bearing in mind, of course, we have got an engine reset. Ocon not really doing too much as well. We're coming into the pits at the end of lap 7, and we see what we can do. Leclerc is going on one more lap. We'll have to see if we can if he gets the overcut. That's worrying. That's a worrying sign if he does, because the pace hasn't been there anyway through sector 1. So we have a bad sector 1 and a mediocre sector 3. Then it's really not going to be that great for us as well. Plus we've got Haskar, De Vries coming through as well, but he didn't really affect us. He came in the following lap, and Leclerc, as I feared, comes out ahead of us and has done the overcut with the Ferrari. So we'll see what Ferrari can do. You can see they're just running away. One man who has lost out though in the pits is Pierre Gasly. He's fallen behind Vettel, Magnussen and Ocon. He's lost 3 places in the pits, only just ahead of Lewis Hamilton in the DRS train behind myself. But Magnussen was on the hard tyres, which is good. Leclerc ran away. No way I could challenge him. He's 7.5 seconds up the road in just a handful of laps. So that shows the performance difference between the Alpine and the Ferraris. Magnussen has a go around the outside. We have a sketchish through the middle, the S's section. That allows Vettel to come through on Magnussen, but Vettel of course doesn't have any pace either. He hasn't had the best of times since Ferrari's engine got reset. So yes, but for us it's another good position. It's P6. A little bit frustrating that we couldn't get P5, so meant P5, but I'll take more solid points today, and it's definitely something we can do as well as we get driver of the day as well.
And so the celebrations begin, and well earned they are indeed. It may have looked simple at times, but as any racing driver will tell you, competing at this level, at the very top, is anything but simple. There's no catching them now then. We have a new World Drivers' Champion.
Well, no surprise there, Max Verstappen. He's thoroughly deserved to win this season. He celebrates with Christian Horner. He's dominated the early parts of the season, and there's ex-Matty GR former right-hand wheelman when we were at Red Bull in season 2 and the first half of season 3. Bottas will now look to cement second place. Obviously Verstappen will just sit back and relax now because he's won. We'll see what we can do. Hamilton no points again today. That probably contributed in Verstappen winning the title as well. Norris having a good race as well for McLaren, and Ocon as well picking up points as well. Gasly losing out big time because he was behind us, so he would have been on for 7th and he only finished down in 10th place. And De Vries was actually the only man that didn't finish with an engine failure right after the race finish. So, but yes, we've retained P7. We're 7 points behind Kevin Magnussen with 2 races remaining at Mexico and Brazil. Mexico is an unknown. We've not been there at all in this driver career mode. And then Brazil, it's a good race for me personally, but whether it will be for the car, because especially the fact we've had certain races this season where we would ordinarily be good at, but the car has underperformed there. We'll have to wait and see. And our teammate has just made it into double figures. I mean, if he had maybe half the points that we could have challenged Ferrari for 4th place in the championship. I think AlphaTauri would probably been too far ahead, but still.
Amazing performance out there. I'm sure you're pretty happy with that. You really cut your way through the field today. What was your strategy?
Dive bombing every day, turn 1.
You're beating all expectations. Would you say we all underestimated you?
Yes, and you overestimated my teammate. That's what happened.
How do you feel the competition is for you this season?
Our teammate, it's been a walkover at times. Not in qualifying, but during the races, he's just nowhere.
It was more like dodgems than Formula 1.
Yeah, I'm not going to
wasn't
answer
it?
that, as usual.
Thank you for your time.
as I say, Sainz was a 50-50, definitely, in my opinion. You might differ. Let me know in the comments below what you think about that. But he was a 50-50. He swoped so aggressively to the left-hand side and then tried to come back onto the racing line, forgetting that I was actually there. But yes, see what we can do. This is where we are on the aero side, just ahead of McLaren, annoyingly behind Alpine. Sashi's side is really lagging, but bear in mind it's only on the tyres really, and there's an ultimate aero upgrade. But yes, we're now in a good position for Mexico as well, because I've got a fresh power unit as well for Mexico and Brazil for the races. So where people might be taking engine penalties, we might gain positions in qualifying. That's the hope, that we can get good qualifying position at Mexico and Brazil and round off this season in style. I think Gasly might be a little bit too far away to be able to challenge him for points, unless we get a good place and he has an absolute disaster class at Mexico and Brazil. But we'll have to wait and see. But yes, that's where we're going to leave it today. If you have enjoyed, then leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you see plenty more episodes of the F1 2020 Driver Career Mode with Alpine as and when they come out. But until the next video, I'll see you next time. Take care. Thanks so much for watching. Enjoy your day, and goodbye.